Today's game wasn't about tackles, results, or goals. It's about the lessons that we take away from the game. We go through the frustrations on the sideline of the pitch. We go through the highs, the lows, and kind of everything else in between. And we are kind of what we're doing on the sidelines is mirrored by the kids and what they're doing on the pitch. And that is something that I have to take a lot of responsibility for, especially with my two being I'm an emotional character. Sometimes I get carried away with myself, and my sons do too. And I see this in the match, and this is something that I need to work on, and it's something that I think my two boys need to work on. And this is a big part of the development and the growth of myself as I learn a lot, as I take a lot of lessons away from this process. I'll in this podcast I will also go through the sort of key moments from the game. In the review of the match, we'll look at who the key players were, some of the big moments that actually shaped the game, and some other takeaways will be, as I said, my journey with my two boys and how they have conducted themselves through their journey. Hello everyone, welcome back to Rising 11. Thanks very much for joining me. I'm Keith, the host of this little channel, and we're going to have a review of GMF under-10s against Macclesfield Select under-10s. What a game. Absolute belter, as it was in the cup semi-finals, the only other time we played these kids prior to this game. And in that game they nicked it 2-1, and they rightly deserved it. It was a brilliant game in horrific weather, and once again this time round we had the exact same. We had an unbelievable, shocking elements were against us, but those kids went out with their bravery and their hearts, their desire to win on both sides, and they gave it everything. So we'll go through the game, and we'll see how it breaks down. GMF were quick out of the traps. From the kickoff we managed to get our first shot away, but that was it for a little bit. Macclesfield were on it. Couple of players in particular, their number 16, I think the kid who was wearing, was it 14 or 15, playing up front, very, very effective on the ball, very quick, moved it really, really well, and created some very, very big chances. But it wasn't just that. Straight away after we created our first chance, they went up the field and scored their first goal. Great finish across the box. Theo didn't have much of a chance. Brilliant finish into the far post. Macclesfield were 1-up, and we were finding it very, very difficult to get into the game. The wind was against us, so we were finding it hard to get out of the box. The rain was absolutely belting down at one stage. Again, you'll even see on the footage, my camera was all over the place. My camera got a little bit stuck, which wasn't great, so some of the imagery is not as good as it should be. The GoPros are wet again. God, it just keeps raining every bloody Sunday, which is really, really annoying. Anyway, fair play to Macclesfield. They put us under pressure, and they kept going and going, and they were pressing us, and they were pushing us, and they were getting their shots away, and Theo was having to make good saves. Ronan was having to make blocks. Archie, Conla, Tommy was having to get across and nick the ball in a couple of occasions off people's toes. And we found it pretty difficult in the first half to get out. And fair play to Macclesfield, they had all the pressure, and they got the 1-goal lead. Half-time whistle went. Jack had a conversation with the boys. I'm not entirely sure what he said, but we came out for the second half and we got motivated, and we started to press, and we started to move the ball like we can. Flicks here, passes there. Ronan coming out of defence, brilliant on the ball. So proud of him, and I'm so pleased for him for the way he's been working recently. He's really having a good season. His statistics in comparison to last year aren't quite marrying up to this year, but he's able to come out, he's able to take the ball out from defence, whether he kind of does a little shimmy and makes a pass, or drifts past someone and then makes a pass. Decision making superb, tackling very, very impressive. His skill set, even on the wing, because he helped create the first goal with his little Iniesta move and got down the wing and managed to get the ball into Dara before he got it into Conla to finish it off. So we made the second half work for us, but that wasn't to say Macclesfield were right in it. They were playing really good stuff. They scored a cracking second goal, and we at that particular stage they'd gone 2-1 up. We were finding it again. We're always with Macclesfield. We're always having to come from behind. We did have a little moment where the ball was not quite on the line, just off the line, and they managed to clear it, unlike the controversy that was in the first game. But that aside, we managed to just keep playing our football, keep plugging away, keep making good passes forward, keep creating some chances. Their young goalkeeper again made some very, very impressive saves. Even with our second goal, Conla, who scored it, brilliant save. Well, nearly. He got his hands to it. It was a great shot from Conla. He managed to just about keep it out, or so I thought, from the sidelines, because you can hear me go, oh, great save. And then actually it hit the post and went in. So really delighted for Conla. That made it 2-2. And then in the dying seconds, we managed to break forward. Archie and Conla combined, and Archie with a great shot into the bottom corner and give us the victory. But at that stage, Macclesfield were still pressing. They were still giving us the problems, and they never give up, never say die attitude. Brilliant kids, lovely manager, really good parents. You know, just as a club, really, really nice. And I think one of my kids thought that maybe some of those boys were at the ball boys at the Crystal Palace game, where Macclesfield beat them in the FA Cup the day before, which was the biggest probably result in FA Cup history. So I can imagine those kids were on a high. They'd seen something amazing coming to play against us, knowing that they already kind of knocked us out of the cup semi-final, and we knew it was going to be a really, really difficult game. We didn't have Noah at the back, which, you know, sometimes when you're missing a player from the team, who's especially Noah, who's a bit of a defensive rock for us, we knew it was going to be difficult. But Ronan and Tommy stepped in and did a really, really good job. And then Braden came in at the end and played in a couple of different positions and did a great job too. So fair play to the boys. We just about got the victory. Hard fought in the terrible weather, and we were absolutely delighted with that. We walk away with another victory, and we just keep the ball rolling now. We've got a couple of victories in a row. Momentum's there. The boys are playing really good stuff, scoring good goals, creating good chances. But yeah, we're coming up against very, very good teams. As I said, big shout out to Macclesfield, who also massively contributed to what was an excellent game. And please, if you're going to check it out, check out the highlights down below to my right for the match. About 8 minutes worth of, great youth football. And get yourselves in there, get them checked out. Please hit a like, a subscribe, and if you're enjoying the content, that massively helps me out. Please put a comment in below. What was your favorite goal? Did you have a favorite moment from the match? Please let me know. I really want this to grow, and I need you guys to help me. And if you can, just by those little simple things, they're all free, don't cost any charge, that would be massively helpful. Okay guys, until the next. How I kind of find myself in this particular match. Before Christmas, I mentioned in the previous podcast that I'm constantly trying to sort of understand and regulate myself on the sideline, and this is not an easy process because I get too involved. I probably get way too involved, but in this particular match, I reserved my moments of not actually saying anything pretty well until about halfway through, and then I caught myself, because I've listened back to it on camera, and I caught myself getting involved with the game again, just essentially telling the boys to maybe sprint back, or generally it's praise, but there's the odd time when I'm like kind of giving them instructions about to be marking on the near post, etc. Whenever corners are coming in. Now they probably can't hear me, and I'm so far away from them that it's not something that I can imagine they're actually listening to. Because how many kids actually listen to the coach? It's one thing I learned in another podcast when I was listening to a coach mention better to ask the kids questions than sometimes have you convey your message to them all the time. That way you grow and you have a better understanding with them, and they get the opportunity to speak, because they should be able to speak. They're the ones on the pitch trying to figure out whether they're going to make a pass, whether they're going to go long, going to go short, they're going to take a shot, are they going to deal with a kick in, etc. And I think from my point of view, I have a lot to learn, and I need to find a way to carry on with my development of just kind of curtailing my want to get involved with the match. It's a kids game, it's about development, it's not about me. But this is my journey, and this is my journey watching Conlan and Ronan kind of go through this whole process. And I've noticed over Christmas they've had ball mastery mats, and they've been working on them really hard every day for about 20 minutes, and I can see their footwork's getting better, so I'm really pleased with that. I'm very, Conlan scored 2 goals in this game, both very, very good goals, really well taken. The first one in particular, because he's got nowhere else he can stick it apart from the roof of the net. He manages to ram it in there, and it's a great finish. Second one, he follows the ball in like the instincts of any good striker, and he smacks it. Said the goalkeeper got his hands to it. I actually thought he'd saved it, because you can hear me on the camera going, yeah, great save, and then the ball trickled in off the post. Delighted for Conla. And then obviously Conla's set up for Archie in the third one. Brilliant pass into him. Brilliant take from Archie, great finish into the bottom corner. And then Ronan, on the other hand, Ronan was constantly, as I mentioned earlier, driving forward, getting the ball, being brave on the ball, being, either taking players on, trying tricks, or, whether it was an Iniesta down the line or, something else, constantly kind of putting himself out there to be brave on the ball. And that's all I can ask for them, is to, do what they do. If Colin's playing up front, if he can score goals, great. If he can hold the ball up, his link play is usually really, really good. Ronan coming out from the back, beating players, driving forward, making that crucial pass, left foot or right foot, it doesn't matter. He's got the ability to do both. So I'm really, really pleased with how they progressed. I felt in this particular game, the two of them played really well, and I'm delighted for them, because it's just a joy to see two kids out there enjoying themselves, having fun, doing the thing that they love the most, and going on this journey. And that's all I can ask for them. And that's, as I said, on top of that, my journey is to help them and provide them with a platform where they can actually go and play, not where I'm shouting and ranting and raving and, telling them they should be doing X, Y, and Z. I've done a little bit of that in the past, and it's not been beneficial to anyone. It gets me wind up, gets them wind up, and it just hasn't really helped anyone. Brilliant podcast. It's Only Kids Football podcast. Ben and Mike, two guys are running an absolutely brilliant podcast. Once every Monday, sometimes they do an additional podcast. Really well worth listening to. Some brilliant people on it, some brilliant coaches from all over the world, and I've learned a lot from that, and I will intend to carry on learning going forward. But yeah, thanks very much for joining me, guys. If you're enjoying, as I said, the content, please hit the old subscribe, please hit the like, and hopefully I can bring more content like this as we move forward throughout the season.